Greetings, everybody. It's Leviathan here, and I just wanted to. It's been almost 24 hours or so since the season has ended, and as such, I wanted to go ahead and quickly talk about just some of the things that happened over the course of the season, some personal stats that I have from exactly how I approached this particular season, and then some of the results, and that way we can kind of have an idea on what I did, and also maybe some of the implications on what exactly it was all about. So I have this image here that kind of does a season 8 by the numbers wrap up, and as you can see, this was a very short season. It was back in BlizzCon 2015 when Blizzard stated they were going to try and really aim for that 3-month season lifespan, and it was that way for a majority of them. Season 5, Season 6, and then 7 and 8 kind of got clipped, I think mostly just because of the timing of BlizzCon 2016. They didn't really see fit to have a season kind of starting as the Blizzard or BlizzCon hype was going on, so I guess that's kind of why they ended one early, then started it, and then Season 8 makes sense for it to kind of end when it did so that they can get the rollout going for Season 9, lining up with patch 2.4.3 and the anniversary event, the Darkening of Tristram. So in any case, started October 21st and ended December 30th, which was yesterday. And Happy New Year's to anyone that's listening to this. Assume by that time it should be around 2017 or so. So Happy New Year. That's 71 days, or put another way, 1,704 hours. I personally played this season 100% solo. Going into it, I didn't really think that I was going to spend a lot of time with Season 8. There wasn't much, if anything, changing from Season 7 to Season 8, since there was no patch to coincide with that changeover. And as a result, I figured I would probably take it pretty casually, work on some other stuff in life, and just play here or there. I wasn't going to be available to start my crazy marathon session at the beginning of the season like I usually do, so that also factored into wanting to probably take things a little bit easier, a little bit slower. So at that point, I started my season by myself a couple of hours after it started, and took it really slowly. I didn't even get to 70 until the day after it started and stuff, which is ludicrous for our normal season starts, but was kind of the hallmark of this season. And then I also knew I was going to BlizzCon, and that would take up almost a week of my time. So then again, there's more time lost if you're trying to grind super seriously. Then you can't miss that many days, because then you miss Paragon, you can't keep up, blah blah blah. So that was kind of the story behind that. So 100% solo. Once I realized that I was doing things solo, I figured, what, let me just make it an experiment for Season 8. I will just play 100% by myself, see how well I can do, and you can see the results. So the time ended up playing for the whole season was 300 hours and 2 minutes, which is an average of 5.68 hours per day. That number kind of surprised me. The average per day surprised me, I guess, because it didn't feel like I spent a lot of time, but that's a decent hours per day, and it kind of makes sense because once I came back from BlizzCon, I felt really motivated to do more with the community, really get back to the heart of why I love doing what I do with Diablo 3. And as a result, I tried to stream a lot more, stream very consistently, stay on a schedule, and that stream schedule ended up being 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern time, which is about 5 hours, right? So you can see kind of how that average time starts to play out. I was putting in 5 hours per day pretty much every day after November, or after coming back from BlizzCon in November. It's like mid-November-ish. And that's a majority. Actually ended up being a majority of the season because it was so short. So 300 hours. Now the breakdown from classes, because I didn't just do Crusader, which of course is my favorite class, as most people usually ask and find out. Crusader is my favorite, and that was the class I was maining this season, since it is one of the better classes for solo, since they can do very high greater rifts. Then kind of gives you the ability to farm speed rifts, greater rifts at higher levels, do your bounties really quickly, etc. So Crusader got 280 hours 5 minutes, Demon Hunter got 18 hours 1 minute, and Barbarian with a nice 1 hour 56 minutes. So you're probably asking why I even made those other characters. Well, there are definitely a few things that the Crusader does not excel at. Killing lots of things all the time is one of those things. So any event like Conquest, where you have to kill 350 monsters in a Cursed Chest event, that was going to happen way easier with a Unhallowed Essence Demon Hunter than my, Bombardment Crusader. It probably could have been done with a Seeker of the Light Crusader if I gave it enough tries, but I was really just trying to get it done. So went with the Demon Hunter for that. I also used the Demon Hunter particularly to solo the Kill Belial in 45 seconds. If you guys are fans of the YouTube channel, you've seen a video of that already from a highlight earlier. So that's pretty much, the Demon Hunter is just there to assess and help with those things that just are too quick to be done with the Crusader, which is more of like a burst play, at least with the Legacy of Nightmares bombardment stuff. And also there were a couple of conquests that were multi-class, like you needed to clear 6 Greater Rifts of, I believe, GR 55 difficulty with 6 different sets. So obviously you can only do 4 sets for one class, so you need a second class. And I did all 4 Crusader sets for that one, and then I believe I did Marauders and Unhallowed Essence for Demon Hunter. And then for the other conquests, it was 8 set dungeons that you had to master, and I did 3 for the Crusader because I hate the Roland set dungeon. I've yet to actually do that one solo. I've done every other set dungeon solo, but I gave up on Roland's and just had a friend help me with that for the one time that I did it. But I did a Khan, Seeker, and Invoker, and then Demon Hunter I did all 4, Shadows, Natalia's, UE, and Marauder, and then Barbarian I did Raycor. And then the Barb, that was there for that one set dungeon, but then also for Crusaders to gear up, it's actually a lot easier to craft a shield, converting a rare to a legendary in Kanai's Cube, using a Barbarian, because their shield pool is so much smaller than Crusaders. Crusaders have like the Void Toya Spiker, Ivory Tower, a whole bunch of other normal shields that are more Crusader based, whereas the Barbarian just has the Freeze of Deflection, the Storm Shield, and the Lidless Wall. Lidless Wall is the best at slot for the Lawn Bombardment Crusader, so that's why it's really nice to have a Barbarian lying around so that you can help gear up your Crusader. 0 deaths this season. This is the first season that I did not die. And like in the back of my head, it was coming up and I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, I still haven't died this season. It's kind of crazy. And then I got to, the last week where I was pushing my Greater Rifts, and I'm like, man, at some point I'm going to have to risk it. Like, I really want to get these high Greater Rift clears. It's going to get dangerous, more and more dangerous, risking it for the biscuit. But luckily didn't die. It's kind of amazing. I was very happy to not lose any characters, especially this Crusader, because it ended up being pretty well geared. Paragon level, this kind of surprised me as well too, 1,259, which ended up being rank 43 for the Americas server. I verified this through, let's see, Diablo progress, as you can see on screen right now. I'm not sure if this is 100% accurate. It's one of those things where you kind of take what you get, but who knows how well the reporting does, how well they scrape all the info. If people don't even sign up, or I don't know, they work their magic in the background. I kind of hope and assume that it is accurate, but in any case, it gives you some idea. For playing 100% solo, that's not a bad spot to land at for overall ranking in Paragon. It was simple in terms of getting the Paragon up there. All I really did was expediently farm Greater Rift 75s and always have pools of reflection stacked up. So whenever I was going to do some Greater Rift farming, I would make sure to go and do bounties or a bunch of regular rifts and just be on the lookout for pools of reflection. As soon as I had 10 of those stacked up, I would go and do my Greater Rifts and then kind of oscillate back and forth. And that way you're just always gaining beneficial bonuses to your experience intake, and Paragon goes up and up from there. Then Greater Rifts. The best clear that I had was a 93, and that was good enough to get us a rank 3 in Americas, but even more fun, and again verified via Diablo progress, a rank 8 in the world for Crusaders, for hardcore seasonal Crusaders. So you can see that on screen right now as well too. Not too shabby at all. Very happy with that. I can't say that I knew that I would get this high. I actually, throughout the season, I kept guessing where I would end up. A lot of people were like, when are you going to push? When are you going to push? Because I was just really stacking up items and gear and not pushing or anything like that. A lot of people were like, come on, do it. Like, let's see it. We want to see you push. And then eventually I started to throw out some guesses. I was like, oh yeah, I should be able to do an 85 right now. Like I would think maybe at the highest, like an 87, 88. But I didn't have like a lot of my upgrades. I hadn't augmented stuff yet, and I was able to do greater if rank 83 augments on all my gear, which in retrospect I might have gone higher. I might have waited a little bit longer and tried to do like 85s on all of them, but you know, it's a little bit extra strength, could have made a difference. But yeah, things just went better and better than I ever expected, and so as a result, I was able to do a 93. I was really stoked. Did a bunch of those on stream. So for those of you who maybe follow YouTube but don't follow me on Twitch, if you check out twitch.tv/Leviathan111, then you can see when I play my seasonal stuff. I am trying to stream very regularly, especially in 2017. I will try to stream 6 days a week in that same 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. time slot. And then at the beginning of Season 9, which I'll do some more details in another video, it's going to be even more expanded hours than that. So stuff to look forward to. And last but not least, completed all 5 conquests, which I was mentioning previously, and then completed the seasonal journey. And I also mentioned, you know, some of the difficulties with that and why we ended up getting the DH. So I'm really happy with everything. Here's kind of an overview of Season 8 based on what you see in the game. A ton of bounties, and that is my pain point. 2,765 bounties, and man, it was so hard to like grind them out and to stay consistent with it, because it's really painfully slow in solo. And then if your game disconnects, now you've lost those bounties that you've already had made progress through. If you haven't collected your cash yet, you just lost that cash. So there, I hope, will be some sort of change done to the system for bounties, for solo play at least, to make it a little bit more palatable, because right now it's a really difficult time, a really difficult thing to do. It's probably one of the hardest, like not even difficult like in terms of difficulty, but just one of the hardest pains of a solo season. And I guess that kind of also brings me to near my conclusion on this thing. Just thinking about doing a solo season, like I was really happy to do it. I thought that it worked out really nicely. I was always able to know exactly where I was at, didn't have to worry about like depending on a group and things like that. And I understand that the developers want this game to be a multiplayer first game. Like they want people to be excited about logging in, finding friends, and going and doing a bunch of greater rifts together, all together. But I think there should still be something that props up solo a little bit more. Like I should be able to know, was I the best Crusader that never partied with anyone, you know? Like I can guess at it, probably was, but at the same time, I don't officially know, and there's no way to ever figure it out. There's a solo leaderboard, but anyone can compete on that, whether they spent 99% of the season in a group, and then that last week they decided to push solo leaderboards, but they're not a solo character. So I just hope that there's something in the future that maybe supports a mode like that. I would just love to see more diversity in the leaderboards in general. You know, being able to track per set. Like if I really like Akan's Crusaders sets, right? I love all the builds that I can do in Akan's. It's never meta lately. Maybe it will get a resurgence when they rework it, but say it never gets reworked, right? It would be cool at the very least to have a leaderboard that I can filter and say, of all the Crusaders who have done an Akan's build, who has cleared the highest greater rift? And then we can look and get some data from there to say, okay, like this person's using Condemn, they cleared a 60. This person's using Blessed Shield, they cleared a 70. And even though like, you know, Long Bombardment's over there clearing like 100 plus, at least the people that love Akans can look and see where their progress is at and gain some happiness and fun just from knowing where they stand. It doesn't have to be about the top, which is what these leaderboards right now without the filters kind of lead to. But instead it could help people decide for themselves what their goals and what their ambitions could be within a season, and kind of help define it for themselves. So in any case, I've rambled enough, I think, at this point. Thank you so much to everyone, especially a big shout out to Dreadscythe, who helped me with not only this awesome graphic, I'll flash up there again, but also just in general, he helped me rebrand my stream and all that good stuff. And my good buddy Holy Knight, almost blanked on the name, made a really cool wallpaper for me for the end of Season 8. And then everyone else that just stopped by the stream with encouraging words, everyone that watched the pushes in the last week, it was a really fun experience. And just in general, all those who love Diablo 3, you guys make this thing super fun and awesome to be a part of. 20 years of Diablo as of today, which is really awesome as I'm recording this. So, shout out to everyone that's been a fan of the franchise. 2017 looks really bright. Necromancer is going to change everything when that jumps in there. Challenge Rifts is going to be a huge thing. As a competitive person, I really feel like I'm going to dive headfirst into those and enjoy them quite a bit. So on that note, 2016, the books are done. We closed them up. Season 8's a wrap. We're really happy with it. And I'm looking forward to Season 9. And I'll have more information for that in the near future. So stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. And I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon. Take care.